So welcome to the Coffee with Cannell show. If you check out time codes and chapters, here's what's coming up. I'm actually going to do a training right at the start. Then we have 2 different coaching calls today, and there's going to be a lot of things you can learn from those conversations if you want to start or grow a YouTube channel. Maybe you're thinking about starting or launching an online course and you feel stuck. We're going to be talking about that today. And we're also going to be doing some Q&A. So if you're just jumping on the replay, I want to encourage you to check out time codes and chapters to skip around to the core content. But the main question we're going to start today with is, if you're multi-passionate, should you start multiple channels? And when is the right time to start multiple channels? And so let's dive in. So our question is, should you start multiple YouTube channels? This question actually came in from Tyler, and he said, I have many content ideas, so much so that the topics are all over the place. Would you recommend starting several channels, each with a respective topic, or just have one channel for everything? The delivery will be more or less the same. Thank you. So my question for you is, can you relate to Tyler? Do you feel multi-passionate? Do you want to start multiple channels? Are you not sure which channel to start? I actually want to cover 4 parts of an answer to this question, because it depends on what stage you're in when it comes to, I think, doing this right and doing this well. I think it also is interesting to consider 5 reasons you should start a second channel. I've written those down. And then also some deadly traps of content creation that could cause you to lose money and might possibly drive you into burnout. And so let's dive into these. So in answer to Tyler's question, really it should be one channel, one niche. That's our big idea. And so when Tyler said, would you recommend starting several channels with a respective topic? Well, each channel I think should have one channel theme, one channel topic, and basically one channel, one niche. So if you do have tons of conflicting passions, I don't recommend uploading that on the same channel. Like, I want to play Minecraft one day, and then I'm really into politics, so I'm going to do a news show. And then I'm also really into psychology, so I'm going to talk about how like the human brain works, and I'm just going to throw whatever out on my YouTube channel. No, one channel, one niche. So if you have multiple passions, then should you start multiple channels? That's an interesting question. Let's dive into the 4 parts. Part 1, let's talk about the seasons of life of a content creator. And the first season is going to be the side hustle stage. And this is going to be where you're doing something else, probably a full-time job, part-time job. You're working a 9 to 5. And so building a YouTube channel is a side hustle for you, right? That's the side hustle stage. Now, the side hustle stage sucks. Can you relate? It's really hard, because it's really like the worst season, because you have time scarcity. You're torn between your side hustle and your main job. You have energy depletion. Are you just tired like me? Like I've been full time, but are you just tired? Parents said amen, but you have energy depletion. It's hard in the side hustle season. It takes like double the energy, because you're doing your main thing and you're doing your side thing. There's the financial constraints. And there's the mental bandwidth limitations. I know that maybe you feel like, man, I want to work on my YouTube channel, but it's hard to focus and, minimize distractions, and I'm tired after work. And then there's also social sacrifice. YouTubers say amen. You just know that your friends are like, can we hang out? You're like, I got to shoot videos. We can't hang out. But here's the thing is, if you're in the side hustle season, you have to focus. And so I think starting multiple channels can be very dangerous. And we say a lot that if you try and chase 2 rabbits, you'll end up catching neither of them. And this reminds me of my story 14 years ago. I really fell into the trap of chasing multiple rabbits all at once. I kind of was just saying yes to every creative passion that I had. And I started too many YouTube channels while working my 9 to 5, and it divided my focus. I started a video production channel for my business. That makes sense. I was working on this company called Clear Vision Media, doing like wedding videos and stuff. Then I was trying to build my email newsletter. I started writing an ebook. I started another channel called Think International, which was like a faith-based leadership channel. I then was getting like a little bit of money here and there to do some consulting for small businesses or speaking. Then I started another YouTube channel. Are you stressed? Which was like my tech Think Media channel, right? And that's the main thing that a lot of people would know me for today. But look at what's happening here. And then I started a blog for the Think International page. And by the way, I'm doing it all. And you could probably relate. I'm like designing blog images and reformatting the site, WordPress, SEO. No AI. Like I wasn't able to just like, hey, can you scrape the script of this YouTube video and like turn it into like a better blog post? I was like writing the blog post trying to rank in search and SEO. I'm just so stressed thinking about this. I started to build out a mini course, like a 4-video YouTube for Churches mini course. And then I started another YouTube channel. Yes, 4 YouTube channels. Sean Thinks, Clear Vision Media, Think International, Think Media. Like, and a lot of people, this is a trap, y'all. And this is a trap in the side hustle season. So there's a book we recommend, and you can check this out in the show notes if you want. It's called Essentialism. And one of the things that Greg, the author, says sometimes what you don't do is just as important as what you do. So if we're answering the question of like, okay, I have multiple passions, should they go on separate channels? Answer number 1, yeah, they should go on separate channels. But the next follow-up question is like, should you start multiple channels though, especially in the side hustle season? I don't think so, because essentialism says this, that your energy is just going to be going in all these different directions, never allowing you to really create momentum. It's like a shotgun blast versus a laser. Whereas essentialism on the right side is stacking all of your energy into one effort, one focus. And I want to encourage, this is bigger than YouTube, because really as YouTubers, I think we want to go full-time on YouTube, or as business owners, we want more leads and sales, and we want momentum in our personal brand. But I think a lot of us are divided in 360-degree direction instead of figuring out what is that laser target. What does winning look like? And really focusing our energy. We often say that focus stands for follow one course until successful. So I want to encourage you, don't diffuse your dreams across a dozen distractions. Channel your energy into a singular pursuit and watch it flourish. But then we get into the solopreneur stage. So you might say, Sean, okay, I thought you said there is a time and place to start multiple channels in an intelligent way. You have multiple channels. You know, not only did you once, and it was sort of a mistake early on, but today, really focusing on Think Media as well as the Think Media podcast channel. Okay, well, there's different stages. So the second season you'll go in, and let me know, are you in the side hustle season or are you in the solopreneur stage? Side hustle season is you got a 9-to-5 or a part-time job. Solopreneur stage is you cross that finish line in a way, which is also a starting line, which is I get to do full-time YouTube full-time, or I am an entrepreneur full-time working on my business, working on, my goals. And I wake up every day and that's what I work on. But it's still hard because now it's all on you. If you're self-employed as a full-time YouTuber, content creator, digital entrepreneur, like the solopreneur season is the one man, one woman band, right? And so you actually now at least have some time back. You traded your 9-to-5 for a 5-to-9. Am I right? And so you don't have to go to work in another job, but you're working your face off still, but you got a little bit of time back, right? Your energy is at least kind of focused more because it's not divided between two things, but now it's on your YouTube channel. Some money's coming in. You're able to pay the bills from YouTube revenue. Your mental bandwidth is at least a little bit better because it's all around the thing you're building. You're still sacrificing social life. Like you don't got a life. Come on. You thought you were going to have a life while you're building your side hustle? Is Sean proposing hustle culture? Not really, but apparently you don't hustle if you're even thinking that. So listen, ultimately solopreneur season. And what I think about here though, is you still want to double down and focus. It reminds me of this quote from Bruce Lee that says, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So what would happen is even though you have more time, even though, okay, now I'm full, like I one YouTube channel got me to full time. It got me a level of financial freedom. So now why not start a video podcast and another channel and a few other things and write a couple ebooks and start a couple other things? Well, I just want to challenge you. What if you just kept drilling in the same direction, stayed on that essentialism focus, follow one course until successful? I've never said this before, but I thought about coming up with a quote for this year. And here's my quote. I fear not the man who has uploaded 10,000 videos on 10,000 YouTube channels. I fear the man who has uploaded 10,000 videos on one YouTube channel. That's the power of focus, right? What do you think about the Terminator LED GVM photo shoot we did? All right, relax. And you know what's actually funny is Michael Zuber literally did this. Like when I first interviewed him from one rental at a time, he had uploaded 10,000 videos. And if you haven't watched this, definitely check out, we'll put this in the show notes, a link to this interview. He not only talks about how he does 80,000 a year in ad revenue, but he's built about a $300,000 to $400,000 a year online business, in addition to his whole real estate portfolio. And one of the things he's doing is he's not editing any videos, but he's just uploading like crazy, and he has a certain format and he explains the whole thing. And so it's definitely worth watching later. But here's my point is imagine if you uploaded 10,000 videos across 10,000 channels, there'd be no momentum. What happens when you compound your efforts? So if you're in the solopreneur season, I want to challenge you, avoid starting multiple projects and multiple side hustles. You know, if you've known my story, I wrote a book called YouTube Secrets with my friend Benji. And in an effort to promote the book, we launched a whole nother channel. You know, hindsight's 2020. I look back, I'm grateful. Got to about 700,000 subscribers. We got to interview a lot of legends like Casey Neistat and Gary Vaynerchuk and others that were on the channel, as well as over hundreds of entrepreneurs and content creators using YouTube. And it helped really launch the book. And our book is like the #1 best-selling YouTube strategy book in the world, I think, with like 135,000 copies sold or something. So it was a success. But one of the biggest things I learned as I started to shift into full time was that when I was trying to like chase even 2 companies, and that was kind of more the side hustle and Think Video was the main hustle, but it was like I was kind of torn. And even we had early team members, like when I was still just kind of a solopreneur and no S Corp yet. And like, I think even our own team was kind of confused, like early contractors and stuff. It's like, what are we doing? We have video influencers, we have Think Media, we have some other stuff going on. And so I'm grateful for the whole season. Super grateful for the book, grateful for the impact, grateful for the lessons I've learned. But if I can encourage you, like even if I think about the solopreneur season, focus deeper and focus longer. It's hard to do 2 things. It's hard to run 2 businesses. It's hard to run 2 YouTube channels. It's hard to be married to 2 different women. I would know. Relax, okay? I wouldn't know, but my wife does like the polygamy shows, like Sister Wives. And so listen, ultimately there's nothing we Sean and okay, we're just going to keep it moving. Let's hit this. Resist the allure of the shiny new object. True solopreneur success comes from mastering one channel, one offering, one business model at a time. And here's the thing. Climbing a mountain, there might be multiple paths, but choosing one and steadily climbing it leads to the summit. Switching paths constantly delays progress. Switching tasks constantly. You know, they learned about multitasking. That task switching and multitasking doesn't even really work for the human brain. If you're like, oh no, I'm the outlier. I can really multitask well. Actually, probably not. Like neurology, psychology, you might be able to pull it off, but the power of focus and deep work and slow productivity, it doesn't. This is interesting. It might not even be the best path to the top of the mountain, but at least you picked a path and you stuck with it until you reached your goal. Follow one course until successful. Because constantly switching paths delays progress. And many entrepreneurs end up with unfinished books, unfinished digital products, unfinished funnels. And the same happens with multiple YouTube channels. You got big dreams, and then all of a sudden, and you know, what's kind of interesting is, again, I think that the whole video influencers era was pretty powerful. I mean, the channel's there, I haven't uploaded in a while, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It might have a future. Benji and I talk about that. But here's what's fascinating is like something's got to give. He's got 5 daughters. I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And we're oftentimes like, what if we also did? I'm like, bro, it's hard enough to try to, you know, take care of my kids. You know, it's hard enough to just focus on the one business. And I've got resources and a team. So it's like multiple YouTube channels. And my point is it stopped, which I think it's okay. It's okay to stop a channel or retire from a channel. But if you're going to sustain over the long haul, I think some of the principles in this training are important to consider. And so there's a couple solopreneur checkpoints I want you to encourage you to check out before expansion. If you're in the solopreneur season and you want to launch another channel or another project, I encourage you get automation set up, that you've got systems, software, tools, routines that are so optimized, or at least optimized enough that you could be consistent over a long period of time to create more margin so that you could seize the opportunity of a new channel. If you don't have automation, you haven't crossed that checkpoint yet. You haven't defeated that boss, so you shouldn't level up and go to the next stage. Also, delegation. I would think you have hired an editor or delegated some editing or have some thumbnails happening, or you've delegated other things. Like you're in a season of life where you've delegated house cleaning and you hired a landscaper with your resources from your YouTube business, your online business. So you've bought back your time. And in doing so, you're now said, well, with the new time that I've bought back, I'm going to invest that somewhere else. These are 3 checkpoints, and also consistent MRR. What's MRR? MER. Consistent monthly reoccurring revenue is actually what it is, not MMR based on the scene. But you know what's cool is we're going to upload this later and we can edit. And so I can actually fix this and look at that. So, and then the third one is consistent MRR, which stands for monthly reoccurring revenue. There's some level of consistency, whether it's brand deals, whether it's ad revenue, of course, ups and downs, but you have some level of stability. Like you don't want to take your eye off of the ball, if you will, when your main income source might feel a little fragile or not automated or not consistent, or there's not a team around it, there's not systems around it, and yet you're going to divide your focus and expand. I think too many people expand too early. So then ultimately build sustainable success by nurturing your primary revenue generator before branching out. Really get your monthly reoccurring revenue at a level of consistency and nurture it and go deeper and deeper and deeper on it until you get to part 3, season 3, which is the scale stage. We've defeated the final boss of the solopreneur season and the side hustle season. But now new challenges await on the horizon. And this is the scale stage. And so the scale season, now you actually have more time. Like they actually say for business owners that build businesses in almost any industry, it's funny because Think Media is like 8 or 9 years old. They're like, you don't even kind of like catch your breath or get a level of life back until year 7 or 8. Like you start to kind of be like, wow, I didn't realize I was like living in burnout for you just like, I didn't realize how crazy it really was. Like it's all just kind of been a blur, I've been just, and so you kind of get some time back. Therefore you can kind of nurture your energy. You've got more money. You've got your mental bandwidth is actually still limited because that's one of the things they talk about. It's not just energy management or time management, but it's really like mental management, like decision-making fatigue. Like I'm trying to be a CEO and a creator and it's ridiculous because it's like, there's a lot of decisions and weight and there's a lot on your brain. Even if you've got time, you still don't have necessarily mental energy. It's a separate conversation. And you maybe got your life back a little bit. I text my friend, Jesse Tillman, and I was like, he asked me a question and my answer, it was like, hey, can you hang out? Can you guys meet up for dinner? And then I said, no. Here was the thing though. He texted me in 2019 and I texted him back in 2023. So it took me 4 years to reply. And I was like, no, we're not going to be able to make it. Kind of funny, because obviously it was like 3 days later and I texted him like 3 years later. No excuse, actually. I'm probably just a bad friend, but you kind of get your life back. You're in the scale season. That's that next season. And so, okay, you're in the scale season. Start another channel. You have my permission now. You've got monthly recurring revenue. You've delegated. You've got some automation in place. You've kind of got your life back a little bit. Your mental bandwidth is a big load because you're carrying new challenges. Yes, there's some money coming in, but in the words of the prophet and philosopher, the notorious B.I.G., mo money, mo problems. You know what I mean? So you are still dealing with issues. They're just different issues. And a lot of stress, just different stress. But you might want to start another channel at this stage, which brings us to part 4. Why should you start multiple channels? Why you should start multiple channels. And let me encourage you, this actually applies to every stage. So are there exceptions to, in my humble opinion, wise goals or checkpoints for us on our creator journeys? I think there are some exceptions. So here they are. Number 1 is maybe start a second channel for a creative outlet. Okay, cool. Like, the point of the second channel isn't like a major distraction. It's that every once in a while, I feel like I need to rant or riff or, get something off my chest or shoot a vlog or I want to film travel and it's not right for my main channel. Well, it's a creative outlet. Do what you want, and maybe have it kind of be a no pressure channel. That's one of the ways to think about it, where it's just a place where you experiment, you upload whatever you want. It's not interfering with your main channel. So why not? Right. And An interesting thought though is for a creative outlet, we did a coaching call on the Coffee with Cannell show, and this was TikTok for somebody. Like their place to rant and talk about issues that were important to them was just another social media platform, and yet their main channel could stay focused. So that's one reason. I think you're maybe going to do a different content format, aka video podcasting. We started the Think Media podcast for actually a few strategic reasons, but one of which was just so it was a dedicated place for a video podcast to live, which was not the original promise of the Think Media main channel. I would also say the reason we started the Think Media podcast was because the promise of the main channel was tech and cameras, as well as YouTube tips, whereas the promise of the Think Media podcast was much more the strategic thinking. Yes, YouTube tips, but the business and going full time and then email marketing and packaging what you know in an online course and all of that kind of stuff. And so you may have a different content format, like a video podcast, or something that's sustainable, like you go live once a week, you go live once a month. It's just different, right? Number 3, why you should start multiple channels. Maybe it's time for change. Like you're just done. We don't even have to have a debate. You're like, I'm just sick and tired of this topic and I don't want to make videos anymore. Well, that's a pretty good reason to stop making the videos. So like maybe start a different channel, stop the main channel. Now you might just be tired, and know this, tired eyes rarely see a bright future. So maybe take a nap before you make any drastic decisions about completely leaving the momentum of your main channel, but it could be time for change. And you might have a new strategic vision. And so I've seen this happen for a couple channels. They realized maybe the subscribers they gathered on one channel were so mixed or so divergent or so the audience they wanted to build, the clarity they now had for their future necessitated starting a new channel. And you might have a new strategic vision of how you're going to use your main channel, your second channel, how you want to tie some channels together, which brings us to media company, which again, there's a time and place. You might go, well, Mr. Beast, kind of a sketchy time for him right now, but you might say he's got gaming and all of this. Yes, but he's got a massive empire and a massive team. Barstool Sports, Valuetainment, these different media companies, Dave Ramsey and multiple personalities. And some people who have their vlog channel and their main channel, but maybe they've hired editors. So they kind of have like a multi-channel strategy. Well, that's totally fine, but I would encourage you want systems, you want team, you want consistent monthly recurring revenue, I think, to do that in the right way before you expand into more channels. So while there are exceptions to the rule of thumb remains the same, that spreading yourself across multiple channels too early can lead to distraction and reduced impact. And I want to end with a quote to sum up this entire training from Dr. Phil McGraw, and it says this: God only gave you one ass, so pick a horse and ride it. You can't ride 2 horses. Thank you, Dr. Phil. All right, that concludes our opening session here for the Coffee with Cannell show. I'm fired up today. Let me know if you had any takeaways from that 22 minutes of content. And you know what? I'm going to sip my coffee because it is time to get into the show. Welcome back to the Coffee with Cannell show, where we have trainings, 2 coaching calls coming up today, answering your questions, some really big announcements. And so shout me out where you're watching from in the world, and any aha moments from that opening training, let me know. And I do see a couple questions coming in. We'll start those and get to those a little bit later. And I want to welcome my co-host today. One of our Think Media coaches, Caleb, is a family-focused entrepreneur, devoted husband of 5, and has a woodworking and jewelry business together. And he's also a content creator and one of our Think Media coaches. Been working at Think Media for a couple of years. Love Caleb and his family. Caleb, here's my question. What did you think about that conversation in light of the fact that you and your wife run a channel? You also work full-time at Think. You also have a woodworking business that you also do. Any thoughts on the conversation of how you pull all that stuff off?
And what's interesting is we have recently, for my wife, like in the last 2 months, launched coaching for her. So just in the last 45 days, she's made over $2,000 just from coaching, from like Zoom calls, getting one-on-one clients. And so we thought we were busy 2 months ago, and now we're like, dude, we added something else to our plate. So we have 5 kids, the small business. I work for Think full time, my YouTube channel, her YouTube channel, coaching now. Yeah, it's been wild. And this summer was probably the wildest summer of our lives. So how do we do it? Well, I have a therapist, number one, and so does she. Like, not joking. So there's like
Virtual or you
literally,
guys drive?
I'm sorry.
Or is it a virtual therapist?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, FaceTime.
yeah. FaceTime, Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But no, like literally, helping with organization, all those sorts of things. We when there's so we believe in therapy, like literally. And so we have 5 kids. When we have issues with them, we'll see a specialist for kids. So we've done that when they have like issues sleeping and all that. So something literally the therapist told us was, you're at a season with so much stuff going on that you're actually going to have to invest in these things to help you guys with everything that you have going on. So we actually took that to heart, and it's a big part of like us moving forward. It's like, where we need the help, we are going to put the money there to get the help so that we don't crumble under the pressure of all the different things. So wow, we got deep there in like the last
That's a
60
good takeaway. I meet with my therapist today virtually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this afternoon. Like, if there's a big takeaway for everybody watching, like, get therapy. And bro, entrepreneurs and YouTube creators and couples, I just think, I mean, that are couples trying to build businesses, like, bro, Sonia and I, like, just the pressure of seasons, business, add kids in the mix, trying, like, entrepreneurship, it is hard.
Man, is it? Yes, it is. And then like I tell people all the time, all that stuff is hard, and I am an extremely complicated human being. Like, just me myself is a lot to handle. So she needs therapy for herself and to deal with me. So but yeah, how do we do it? Like that is literally a step one. You have to be super realistic about the realities of everything that's going on. Like, time is super limited when you have all of these people and all these situations and emotions you're trying to manage. So, I knowing that she's building something up, and knowing that some of the things that I'm doing on my business, I'm kind of like falling back a little bit. That means I have to step up in other areas to give her the freedom, because I'm also helping her launch these things. So I'm looking at it like very strategically, like, all right, not just what does today look like, but what does the next few months, years look like? And I'm like, honey, we can launch you into something that has literally, we never thought we can, your mind is about to be blown with where I think you can actually go. So what does that mean for Caleb? Caleb needs to watch kids a lot more than he probably wants to. And so I do. And I give her the space and I give her the time. And if she's got to give classes, she knows she can come to me and say, look, I have this, let's just look at your schedule. Let's get it on there. And I'm totally cool with that. So yeah, all that. And I'm also jumping back on my channel. And so we just have open communication lines, and we meet together and look at our calendars and put things on the calendar, and just, it's like a business. We literally run our house like a business.
Family team, you gotta, state of the union meetings, calendar meetings, looking ahead. But I love your transparency, and thanks for sharing. And I know this was refreshing for a lot of people listening. Caleb's going to jump on in just a second as we also get into our coaching calls. We have Daisy coming on, as well as Steve, and a lot's coming up. But a couple things. One, today's episode is brought to you by vidiq.com/think. Do you use vidIQ? Question number one. Question number two, what is one of your next video ideas? It could be really rough. In fact, Daisy, drop it in the chat if you're able to chat. What is one of your next video ideas for your channel? Something you're thinking about designing, or you could do even our private chat in the back end, and we'll have Daisy coming on here in a second. But if you haven't checked out vidIQ, what's cool is right now you can actually get a $1 trial for 30 days. And even if you cancel, really build some momentum on your YouTube channel in the next 30 days. There's a link in the description, vidiq.com/think. And I'm going to see. So Daisy's next video idea, she's going to be coming on for coaching in a second, is about being thrifty, frugal, and thriving as a Christian homemaker. Very cool. So let's check out one of my favorite vidIQ features that's brand new and AI based. So we're going to talk about generate thrifty, frugal Christian home making tips. Okay. And then we're going to just click generate. So this generate tool is really cool. First of all, it's going to tell us a couple keywords here right at the top, and it's going to build out an entire video in one page for us, like a whole plan. So it came up first with the title, Frugal Christian Homemaking Hacks for a Tight Budget. Pretty good. Now, again, you could spin this, go a couple of different directions. It's also going to tell you some top keywords, AKA tags. Now, it's not because tags are going to ultimately help your video, but you do want to know, what am I trying to rank for? So now we have Frugal Christian Homemaking Hacks on a Budget. Here's the title tool. If we click make shorter, make longer, add excitement, we can actually now spin some different versions until we find a title that we love. Smart Christian homemaking tips for tight budgets, incredible frugal hacks for faithful homemakers. And maybe Daisy decides I'm going to do 21 because she thinks of 21 tips, 21 incredible frugal hacks for faithful homemakers or Christian homemakers, and so it's going to just walk you through a couple other ways we could spin the title. And you can also then just click the copy button here to copy the title right over to your video. Now, it also is going to give you your description, which YouTube themselves, and Todd Dupre was talking about how, tags don't help much and they just help with kind of misspellings. But we look a lot at the description a little bit more, and we look a ton at the title. So the description matters. It's not like it's going to make or break your video in a way, but if all things being equal, you actually reinforced your description with good information about the video versus the person who didn't, it gave you all of this for you. You could just click copy, post that over, maybe tweak it, and then look at this. All your tags are done. Copy those, paste those over. Now, we also have some, obviously not the final thumbnail you're going to use, but we've got shot composition. We've got ideas for the thumbnail that is actually really based on psychology and even what's working on YouTube right now. vidIQ's AI is studying YouTube. There's something about the open hands. This is a real thing. Have you noticed my thumbnails lately? It's kind of like the openness of, as opposed to it's open body language. And that's working at a higher click-through rates. So it's even kind of including that with also some simplicity here. You're not showing all of the tips. So just some different. So you got some ideas. You could, work on those. And then it outlines the video for you, which again, you've got more work to do, but it leads you through the hook, the introduction, present a problem or a challenge, develop it out, climax and key moment, call to action, conclusion, and summary. And you can even click generate script. That is just the generate tool with vidIQ. And it really is a game changer. And it's going to help you go faster, help you make sure you don't miss any steps. And again, you can try it out for just $1. Build some momentum, learn some lessons as vidIQ kind of walks you through best practices, get some videos going. But then on the other side, when you try it and see that you love it, stick with it, because I use vidIQ every single day when I'm preparing videos. It's part of my suite of tools. We just did a coaching call yesterday in our elite program, and I went through the different tools I was using and how I use them. And so I understand when finances are tough, you can definitely hustle and be resourceful. But just like a contractor has hammers and nails and different tools that are necessary to get the job done, software tools like this could be very helpful as part of your content creation process. So you can check out a 30-day trial of vidIQ Boost for just $1 or go to vidiq.com/think. And with that, I'm excited because this might be one of my favorite opportunities here. We get to have a Coffee with Cannell guest today, a content creator, but also a former employee of Think Media who's now out on her own doing big things. And as she transitioned into being a mama of two, that was the big transition. Daisy, we miss you. And we're so happy for this season in your life, though, and everything that's been happening. And I am so excited for this conversation. But how have you been?
Thanks so much, Sean. It is so exciting to be here. I was pumped to be invited to be on today's Coffee with Cannell, and I'm excited for all of the knowledge that you have to be applied to my channel. And it's so interesting to be on the other side, and I'm just pumped.
Well, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for the massive impact you made at Think Media, and also so excited for this family season and this YouTube season. So tell us the vision of what's been happening over here on your YouTube channel.
Wow, it's been so incredible. So, I've been on YouTube for over 10 years, but I've always had a lot of fluctuations with my consistency. And recently, back in June, I decided that I was going to hone in on my homemaking niche. So, I told myself I'm going to post consistently for 7 days to just beat that idea that I needed to have perfect videos. Like you say, done is better than perfect. And one of those videos actually blew up my channel. It's coming up on 60,000 views. From that video alone, I've gone over 2,500 subscribers, which is amazing. That's the one that you're seeing on the screen. And from there, it really kicked off this entire community of Christian homemakers that I've been able to build such beautiful connections with. And that's really the goal of my channel, is just to be able to encourage other homemakers and be able to apply biblical truths to our journeys as homemakers and mothers. And yeah, now it's just figuring out how to create searchable content. That's kind of my problem right now, is I feel like the titles that a lot of the other competitors in my niche have, they're not necessarily SEO focused. So that's one challenge that I have. And then also just being able to continue to make spirit-led content while also figuring out a strategy that's not going to put my integrity on the line.
Man, such good questions, and congratulations. Can you speak a little bit to just your experience? Like, we say you're one video away, and you were a part of course, Video Reiki Academy for years as you're working on our team and whatnot. You might have heard us say that a lot. Now you've experienced it. What kind of, was this surprising? What would you encourage others in terms of, also, you've been on YouTube for 10 years, and yet now with all of your learnings and all the seasons, putting it all together and taking some bold action, starting to post again, video pops off and really triggers your channel. And now it's also outlier after outlier. I mean, it's just like been really just back-to-back videos. You have tons of momentum. Yeah. What's been that experience been like?
It's been incredible. I will say that I did use vidIQ's feature to figure out where I wanted to rank, and I think that made the biggest difference. Putting a lot of effort into my thumbnail, I think, has really transitioned my channel direction, just because now I feel like I figured out what my audience is looking for, and then kind of like what can set me apart. So yeah, it really is true. You are one video away, because I literally was feeling so defeated prior to that video going viral for my channel, because I felt like I was talking to an empty room. Nobody was like really engaging with my channel. And then after that, it was just the floodgates opened, and it just truly felt like I found my niche, my people found me, and they just felt so much connection to what I was saying in that video. So now it's just really continuing that momentum and continuing to be vulnerable, and also just being strategic in what made that video different from all of the others, and continuing to just build on that connection that I have with my audience. But definitely doing your research, and being strategic with what videos you think have the capacity to go viral.
Such great advice. Well, excited to talk a little bit about this. Let's hit a couple of your questions. I want to, one of your questions was coming up with video topics and the difference between ranking and search-based videos, and then we could call them trending and suggested-based videos. And a lot of your competitors are doing the trending suggested-based videos, right? They're doing titles that are maybe like not necessarily a search term, but are more curiosity-based. Is that what I heard you said?
Correct, yes.
So I think that this is this ongoing debate in YouTube, and I actually don't think it necessarily needs to be a debate. I think that the question between should I do evergreen or should I do trending and suggested, it's like it doesn't have to be either or. I think it should be both. And it doesn't hurt your channel per se. You could still be faithful to the topics and the desires that your audience wants, while doing both. And so the powerful thing is oftentimes our evergreen search-based content actually is slow at the start. So people abandon it because their trending and suggested videos might be more 1 out of 10, but sometimes fall off and stop getting views 3 or 6 months later. So the missing piece of a lot of channels is like a baseline of evergreen views that are giving them views 24/7. So I think what I would do is I would just build out both. And I would think about, I think clearly, to double down on your success, more morning routine stuff. And I think that looking at other ones, okay, morning routine, Christian girl morning routine, You're thinking homemaker. You think you might go mom though. That could be another piece of thinking about what are your, let's ask Coffee with Cannell, what are your keywords? And yours are Christian. That's a big key. Homemaker, I think, is one, but I would say mom. You would agree with that?
Yes. I think from my experience, if I focus on the mom aspect, it's so general that it has to be paired morning or Christian homemaker. That's what I have found be the most successful with my tags and my titles.
I still think you could hit mom. For example, this type of video right here would leave, Christian mom morning routine and even 6 habits to transform your life. I mean, success leaves clues. Now you're going to spin it your same way. I want to encourage you to try this. And again, you might take it over to something like Generate and I didn't really change it much here because it's already pretty, but you sort of spin it. Maybe you have 5 habits. That's assuming you're going the habits direction. I think that's interesting. And we could use even other tools like maybe come over here to our AI coach and say, can you give me 10 variations on this title? And maybe this inspires like 6 life-changing morning habits every Christian mom should try.
Mm.
I think and that's, to me, that is evergreen.
I agree.
I mean, because it's habits is very searchable. And then, every Christian mom is kind of searchable. And I think it's both. I think meaning, and I want everyone listening to this to be thinking about, there's different angles that would still hit your audience. So I think that's one way to go. I think then the other way to go is what is like maybe a video title of a competitor that is less search-based that you could think of?
Like for example, it could be something specific like the art of cultivating peace in your home.
Mm,
That's a very popular topic that a lot of Christian homemakers have made, but I just personally wouldn't go out of my way to look up that specific title.
yeah. Yeah, I think when also if we start kind of studying like this, okay, habits of a homemaker, cultivating peace, this is still very much, it's kind of both and search-based. This was a 100x outlier score. Are you familiar with that now?
Yes.
Yeah, so that one on an 11,000 subscriber channel, I think is something to take note of. One of the things I do would be like screenshot this and maybe take it over here to the ideation and sort of then again, you're going to go your own direction, but start if that inspires you. So I would build out both, and I would think about, another thing you might say is what are some trending video ideas for an audience of Christian homemakers, Christian mom homemakers. And then what we would be saying here is curiosity-based titles, knowing kind of the language that we want to use. And so what happens when you pray over your home every day? It's interesting. It's pretty interesting because it's long. So you maybe could trim it down. Like you could say, can you make this as short as possible? And that's a pure curiosity-based question. Daily prayer. What happens to your home? You could spin it a couple of different ways. Surprised benefits of a minimalist lifestyle for Christian mom. How I turn chaos into calm. What do you think about some of these ideas? Any inspire you?
Yeah, I definitely saw a few that I mean, whenever I use AI, I always modify it based on the language that I would specifically use. But yeah, there's definitely some that I could see myself using because you hit it right exactly the way that it happens is my videos will do really well for let's say the first week, getting thousands of views, and then it kind of just tails off. And that's where I mentioned it's not searchable content. So once kind of the hype, dissipates and YouTube isn't pushing it out anymore, it'll be maybe like 2 or 3 views every day versus initially it's like hundreds of views.
Because that's your core audience consuming it, but then where does it go next? And
Correct.
you are articulating honestly, I think the problem with 99% of creators that are lacking sustainability, especially when your value is family and kids. And so it's both. We want to hit record and post and hit our core audience, but we also want those passive views and that growth that's happening. Hence the dream of Video Ranking Academy. We want to truly rank videos. So I think, I mean, you don't have to go 1-to-1, but if there was a strategy, it might be thinking, okay, can I try to rank for something that's very much evergreen? And then also, can I do, I think about It's Judy's life, right? And my good friend Benji and whatnot. And of course, their vlog titles are all, she did it. It's official. Getting ready to leave home, and so these are all core audience based titles. Great. But as they've learned, you kind of keep posting. It's the nature of a 4-day-a-week vlog versus, I suppose, I wonder if we look at the channel stats, if we look at view trending videos, and we look at 5 days, 7 days, 18, the first time on a bullet train during summer, bullet train, people searching for experience of the bullet train, that one's a little bit more searchable. Thus, it's still getting 200 views per hour 18 days ago. But I think what gets more fascinating is 12 years ago. Maybe that's because it's their first one. A lot of people go back to watch the first vlog, so it keeps getting views. Tokyo shopping is a little bit more searchable, and perhaps this logo and people that want to see inside of this store and the logo is on this thing. Any thoughts on this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I still get a lot of returning viewers from my Christian morning routine video where they've literally said like, I will go back to that video just to be re-inspired. Um, but yeah, like you said, you just have to keep posting, which that's where I would like some direction on how I can maybe retitle some of my videos now that that first wave of all of my viewers have watched, how I can make them more evergreen, because I wouldn't say that they're necessarily not evergreen by nature. It's just the titles themselves I feel are.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I want to answer that question in just a second, but to give our community here an update, hey, if you have a question, put 4 question marks before and after it. After the next few minutes of Coaching with Daisy, I'm going to answer some of your questions. This is the Coffee with Cannell show, a unfiltered conversation with raw tips to help you get views and grow your YouTube channel, or start your YouTube channel, or grow your business with YouTube. And I do want to welcome answer Daisy's question and also bring Caleb on after this for any thoughts of like a channel review, maybe thumbnails. I think the one opportunity you do have is there is an opportunity to go trending and suggested when the video launches, title it a certain way, title it maybe like Judy, she did it. I mean, you have to actually have context in that, but when you're followed, you're like, I did it. And it's so much mystery. They see your face, they maybe see your Bible. That the only reason that's going to be clicked is because of core audience, because of subscribers, because of that fan base, because of, that's there. So it's a different style. But you can go back later after things plateau off. And I think it'd be a 2-step process, identifying a new title. And you even could try new thumbnails. Not that it may need that, because if you want the packaging right, you could launch a thumbnail split test on a video that's 2 weeks in. And then also I would promote it again on the community tab, because you have new subscribers, but I would go to your community tab and promote the video just to get a little bit of traffic to it. And then with your hopes of taking a video that shifted from, again, trending and suggested, more curiosity based, to having an evergreen shelf life. This is hard to keep up with at Think Media because we post a lot and we have a large library. And so I'd say we're not even caught up with it, but our goal is quarterly to go back through and think about what videos have plateaued and leveled off that we can repackage so that they have an evergreen lifespan, even to the point of sometimes it can be frustrating. We're trying to search our channel. And whenever you search a channel, you maybe want to search for something like, let's say, like I just posted a video on Think Media, which is it did very well. And it was titled, "My YouTube views exploded after fixing this." That is a trending suggested title, because this is not exposed. It's not And what I fixed was my intro. It was all about doing hooks. So I could have done a video like how to start your video, how to hook, which probably wouldn't have done as well out the gate, but would have been much more searchable. Like how to create a hook for a YouTube video would be the search-based version of that. So then the logical thing I could do, call it maybe a month even from now, maybe sooner or later, is to repackage that video as per something. And that the other alternative is suggested can be evergreen for years. It could just keep being suggested, and it plateaus at different times. And so what we're studying is we are taking times to periodically, that's why it's part of our 7R process. The review R is not just like, oh, quickly review the analytics. It's actually like a seasonal practice and habits and disciplines of going back and even reviewing videos in your past library, thinking about re-optimizing content, reviewing your strategy overall, reviewing cadences and different things, and perhaps reviewing evergreen versus trending titles. Does that make sense? So I think once your videos plateau off, you could go back and re-optimize some of your videos in your library.
Yeah, because even when you were going through some of the other Christian homemaking content, I kind of saw an opportunity where the first part of the video title was something searchable, but then the nuanced part was the second half. So being able to just hone in on that first part that is SEO optimized, then adding my own flair to it.
Yes. Daisy. Okay, let's see. Caleb, what are you thinking? You're looking at the channel. Any thoughts, feedback as we land the plane with Daisy?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's so good. Like that's what I'm thinking is it's doing so well. A few things that maybe you want to start to play with is I definitely would split test the thumbnails like 100%.
And I do, yes.
Okay, good. Then one thing like on that the guard your heart from anger. One thing that I think like I wonder like the first one, Sean, the very first one, if you scroll up a little bit. So if the thumbnail itself, like if actually I think it might have a little bit more impact if we were more zoomed in on you and maybe just the words mom rage were just like a little bit bigger. So it's like we see you, we see mom rage, especially. And another thing is some of the fonts might be pretty difficult to read. That cursive font looks pretty tough to read, and especially on mobile, it's going to be really hard. So bigger, like especially one like that. I remember one time I shared a thumbnail with Ian, our thumbnail guy wizard, and it was of my wife, and it was a kind of like it's like she was frustrated about something I was saying, and it was a nice picture of her, and he was like, zoom in, like, and I was like, how much? He was like, zoom in, massively zoom in, because it's the emotion that we're showing, right? And so for you, it's like this frustrated mom with a book looking away, like you're supposed to be paying attention to the kid in the book you're reading, but you're looking away.
Yeah.
And then it says mom rage, and it's like, whoa, what's going on? This seemingly lovely Christian woman has some mom rage.
Yeah.
So anyway, just get into like the psychology of that and painting that picture with the thumbnail. And then,
by the way, you crushed it with that topic. I mean, it's a 10x outlier. I think it goes to a whole nother level if you even update the thumbnail and thinking about again, this is I just threw it in the generate tool, but I do think if you were your face, maybe stoic, doesn't have to be. Some people have the critique of, do I have to have like these extreme wild YouTube faces? I don't think so. In fact, I think that era is kind of past in a way. But we can have micro emotions on our face. Maybe you look done, you look frustrated. Something to consider. Back to you, Caleb.
Yeah, exactly. And then like kind of more of like a personal question for you is like, what do you see for yourself moving forward with this channel? Like, do you see yourself doing memberships, coaching, anything like that? Is that even a desire of yours?
Honestly, I feel like because kind of gaining this momentum has been so new, it's been a little bit like overwhelming to think about big vision for this channel, because my first goal was always just to have a really engaged community, which I feel like from seeing my statistics with like comments and just engagement, it's been really good. But I haven't really thought about that, just because I do want to honor, my family and make sure that I have availability to them first and foremost. My channel is always going to be second to them. So I haven't really thought about any other monetization strategies. And again, that's like one of the challenges is how do I maintain my integrity to just having this be a way to really encourage homemakers, Christian homemakers specifically, without being so like money driven and
Mhm.
you know questioning my integrity of like, oh, you're doing this for money. But I do want to be able to know how. I mean, I'm already putting in all this effort to my channel, so it's like, how can I maximize what I get from it?
Yeah, so it's something to just keep in your back pocket to think through. I think channels like this, kind of like your channel, my wife's channel, I think are super like ripe for memberships, for community, for going that one step deeper, for Bible studies, for all of these things. And the way that we've positioned it for like my wife, it's in the private community are topics that are way more sensitive that she personally would not want to share just like publicly out to YouTube. So it's like what she talks about over there is like some really way more deeper stuff where like I'll jokingly show up on one and they're like, no, this is for women only. And I'm like, all right, like bet I'm out of here. And they really love that. So, just yesterday we were having a conversation and she was like, man, like I feel like I'm so consumed with their lives and like all the challenges that they're having and all these things. And it's like it becomes overwhelming. And I was like, look, your job is to be a light in that moment that you have with them. Like
Mhm.
they've had an entire life. They've had 30, 40, 20 years of life. And your job is to be a light in that one moment they have with you. And that's your job. Like that's your only job is I'm a light here on YouTube. I'm a light right here when you come onto my video. And if you have memberships at some point or some sort of one-on-one, it's like I'm here for this period of time and I'm gone. And so one of the ways, like I said, that she's done is I share information that I really wouldn't share or topics that I really wouldn't share publicly. And her only like big promise to them is like the main big promise is one live stream per month with them. And it's just like some sort of teaching that she does. She prepares the teaching and goes live with them, and that's it. I think she's added some other things like Zoom calls and a WhatsApp group, and she's focused and really trying to develop this. But anyway, it's just something to keep in your back pocket. I think you could make it happen, and the engagement that you're seeing in the comments and people really liking this, I think it's just another opportunity for you to work a little bit more focused and helping a specific group of people. But I feel what you're saying, and we all have that. We all have
Yeah.
that little bit of a struggle, but you'll be able to help some people if you do
Yeah.
that.
No, that's super helpful, especially like coming from your wife who I'm familiar with what your wife does. I follow her on Instagram. I've chatted with her a few times. Like I could definitely see that in the future, once I'm able to build a system that's, feasible to maintain. But yeah, it's encouraging to hear that she was able to find that balance without it being so overwhelming and consuming.
Yeah, you got this. So excited for you.
Thank
Daisy, you were
you.
crushing it. I'm so grateful that you jumped on Coffee with Cannell. Before Daisy gives us final words, I want to encourage you, smash like if you got value out of that conversation. We have Q&A coming up and another coaching call and a few announcements. But Daisy, did you have any aha moments today?
I sure did. I think one thing that I take from this conversation is that I don't have to feel guilty about making strategic content because at the end of the day, I do have a mission to help other women be encouraged in their homemaking and motherhood journeys. And if that takes a little bit of creativity and strategy, then ultimately it's going to be helpful for them. So, yeah, I'm just going to go back and work on re strategizing some of those older videos and see how they do.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you, Daisy. Thanks so much for jumping on. And we're going to have Caleb back in just a second. We do have some questions coming in. It's helpful if you put questions before and after. 4 question marks, I prefer. But someone asked, what does it mean to have a 10x outlier? So when you have vidIQ installed, you can see these little scores on people's videos. So if you go to somebody's channel, call it a competitor's channel, like let's say you are looking at different homemaking channels and you went to Daisy's channel, you could see that this guarding your heart from anger and this mom rage topic was a 10x outlier, means it got 10 times more views than the channel's average. This was a 5.2x outlier. So this is a way of identifying across channels that are maybe similar to yours, the same as yours, kind of same topic, and to look for what kind of topics are really, popping off. And inside of vidIQ, which by the way, if you want to try this out, you can go to vidiq.com/think and do a $1 trial. We could type in something like Christian homemaker, which is Daisy's topic, and actually look at outliers across the platform. Becoming a Christian homemaker, part 1. Christian modesty. Now, Daisy is on the vidIQ outliers. Shout out. And her video that popped off got a 34x. But that was morning routine as a Christian homemaker. Stop being lazy. 15 things I don't do as a Christian homemaker and mother. And that was a 20x outlier to the channel's average. So what the goal here is, okay, what can I learn from the titles, the topics, the thumbnails, the packaging that might inspire my next video? So that's what an outlier is. And that's just one of the many tools inside of vidIQ. If you want to do a trial, link in the description, or go to vidiq.com/think. We also have another thing. If you're specifically a faith-based creator, this Thursday, I am doing a live class. If you go to expandgodskingdom.com, we're going to be talking about specifically YouTube strategy for Christian content creators, ministers, churches, and ultimately how you can master YouTube as a church, ministry, or purpose-driven business. We're going to be talking about the financial opportunity. And I know it sounds weird and makes people uncomfortable, but you need money for the mission unapologetically, right? Of course, you want to do that ethically and transparently, but if you got a big vision, a big mission from God, it's like, how are you going to fund it? How can you buy the cameras or hire the video editor someday, let alone pay your own bills, right? So we'll talk about the financial opportunity. We'll talk about how to create multiple streams of income, and then 3 powerful tips for really figuring out that clarity plan for your YouTube channel, as well as how to get views and subscribers. So anyways, you could see that this is, at the time of this Coffee with Cannell, it's happening in 2 days. And you could just go to expandgodskingdom.com if you want to register for that, or there's a link in the show notes down below, as well as all the books and resources and stuff that we're talking about. Now, this is the Coffee with Cannell show, so some cues have been coming in, and I've got some A's for your cues. I hope I'll do my best. Is it a good idea to have other social medias to promote your YouTube channel at the beginning? This is a throwback all the way to our opening training, which we talked about, should you start multiple YouTube channels? And I think I would encourage you to be careful. If you try and chase 3 rabbits, you'll end up catching none of them. And I just mean careful. Like, it's hard to do well on Instagram and do well on TikTok and do well on YouTube. There's tools, there's AI, there's repurposing for sure. But you only have so much time and only so much mental bandwidth in a day. So my advice for you is to pick 2. I think, and when I say pick 2, I think YouTube is 1. So maybe 1 support platform, because rather than even do 3 different things, maybe you love Instagram. Instagram has a DM feature, which is a pretty big deal, especially for if you want to really connect with people and have conversations. YouTube does not have that. So a lot of business owners and coaches, consultants really will even use YouTube to leverage Instagram and the DM feature. But perhaps you pick 1 in addition to your YouTube channel, because remember, focus stands for follow one course until successful. And then identify the season you're in. Are you a side hustle, solopreneur, or scale season? I'm on a lot of platforms with 2 accounts, the Sean Cannell account and the Think Media account. But there are 31 W-2 employees that work for Think Media and like 10 contractors. That sounds insane, but like, and we're doing, and that's like not just on content, by the way. We have a coaching program and I think 6 or 7 Think Media certified coaches. So we have other things, a lot happening. But the punchline is, I post a lot of content, and by I mean we post a lot of content across a lot of platforms, but we're in an entirely different season. So identifying the season you're in and identifying the right things to do in that season and the things you should be saying no to and avoiding is going to be a big key to, I think, making it to the next goal that you want to reach on YouTube. Sean, when you're using multiple camera angles, what are you using to control those? You said in the kitchen. I don't know if you mean these multiple camera angles. I am using a Stream Deck, and I have a PC and I have a capture card inside that has HDMI ports on it. And that's what I'm using to control these. What I'll do is I'll link in the YouTube description to a video on this office tour if you're interested. 3 different Sony cameras. It's called My Dream Home Office Desk and Productivity. I go through all of the different software and tools that I'm using in this exact setup. And so we'll make sure that that ends up in the, I posted it in the comments, but we'll make sure that gets into the show notes for you. Thank you so much for the question. All right, we're going to go to Steve here in just a second for our next coaching conversation. But community post is good to share the link and write some details highlighting the video to help promote the video. Absolutely. One of the most underutilized YouTube features by a lot of creators is the community tab. Now, I don't think it should be overrated, meaning, oh, if I start using the community tab, I'm about to take over, the world with my YouTube channel. Well, no, because the problem is if you want to succeed on YouTube, you have to post videos on YouTube. Profound, huh? But it's true. And if you're trying to ultimately reach people, you got to be posting content. But notice this is today a new, when did this come out? Today. Is it Tuesday? Yeah. So we have a new podcast that comes out on Tuesday and Thursday. I posted this morning. 3 hours ago, I got up and I posted on the community tab the new podcast that came out. Now I have 2 channels. So I actually promoted it on Think Media over to this channel, Think Media Podcast. But yeah, I think that using the community tab, Gary Vaynerchuk spoke at our Grow with Video Summit. And the word that stood out that he used about the current era of social media and YouTube was success right now just requires more rigor. And rigor means attention to detail, more nuance, more attention to the small things. And so when we are doing thumbnail split testing and leveraging the community tab and packaging our videos better and using tools like vidIQ, like all these little things stack up. And you might feel like, man, competition is fierce. It is. YouTube is hard. It is. So, but it's possible. And it just more rigor. It's learning a skill set. It's learning the nuances. It's adapting. It's pivoting. It's getting 1% better with every upload. And so again, the community tab is a piece of the overall picture, I would argue. Could you get away and succeed without using it? For sure. But why wouldn't you? So I think that I'll add that to our to-do list. I think there's probably a training. I would love, Drea, for us to find, I know it's out there, but probably if we titled it suggested, like, try this. The 99% of creators are missing this tool. It's like, crap, where's our community tab training? It's unfindable because it's not searchable. Let's find it. We'll put it in the show notes. We'll debate about it. We might have to ask Kyle. I don't even know where I would find it, but it's out there. And I probably have 36 things to say on it since that video was recorded, but that would help you. And we'll do our best to add that back to the show notes. Okay. I cannot wait because coming up, we've got Steve, and we are going to be talking about he's got a fitness channel. He is helping boomers seek pain-free living. So I want to welcome Steve to the Coffee with Cannell show. Steve, how's it going?
Hi, Sean. Thanks for having me in your coffee.
Oh, man.
I already got some takeaway. I think I need to hire a therapist.
Yes, for sure. We all do.
Totally relate with your when you shared about being a solopreneur, and I've been a solopreneur now for 18 years, and I have 5 contractors. But so I'm at a point in my stage in our business that we're trying to get more attention on YouTube. So our focus is more therapeutic Pilates. So we use Pilates and therapeutic exercise to help people get rid of pain instead of medication and surgery. So currently I'm trying to dedicate at least 10 hours a week to build up my YouTube channel. I attended your Grow Video Live in April. So I started with 228 subscription. Then ever since it grew from there to thank you for the coaching of your team, Think Media. It grew from 228 to almost 2,000 subscriber. So I had one viral video. So hopefully I can. So I can't believe with 15 videos it went viral. One of them to 51,000. It's still moving. So I'm trying to eventually get the end game is have membership coaching once a week to scale myself instead of I'm trying to get my life back basically. So less work with my I'm giving up a lot of my clients to my staff and focus on I can coach people 50 to 100 in an hour on YouTube or more. So that's my and that's one thing I learned also from the Grow with Video Live, the 7 R's. The secret is the system. You mentioned that. So I've been trying to fool around with YouTube for since 2008 in crickets. So until I finally, my wife brought me to thanks to my wife for her support and bringing me to YouTube, Grow with Video Live. So I need your help, Sean.
Well, I love it and super grateful you're a part of our community. And thanks for being a part of Video Rake It Academy Accelerator. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see almost 2,000 subscribers. We would call it VFM, viral for me. You had a 100x outlier here with how strong legs keep you walking in your 80s. I think one thing you could do here is let's see if the thing with vidIQ is it connects to your channel. So it's connected right now to Think Media. And when I go to the AI coach, I can look at basic and advanced chat. Do you have vidIQ?
I have to ask my wife. I think probably not.
Because I think, I mean, at least do the $1 trial and try it out for a month. Because when you go to advanced chat on the AI coach, it's personalized insights for your YouTube channel. So if I was to say, like, based on my channel, what video ideas do you have me, was one of just the quick prompts. I can't do this for your channel because I don't have vidIQ connected to the analytics. And here's it spitting out some video ideas for me, which is just really helpful if you ever hit like a writer's block. But what I was going to go for here is let me ask this. What video ideas could I follow up with based on this video? I want to see if it'll read a YouTube video. So yeah, so it's at so the other thing you could do here is maybe take it to a different AI. Well, again, it'd be connected to your channel and it's looking at mine. What I'm after here for the tip is success leaves clues, make part twos. How strong legs keep you walking in your 80s. Wow, so inspirational. You've read and replied to these comments, which is great. 75, super fit. I would walk 5 miles. I'm not 80 yet. I'm in my 60s, but I subbed and I need to make my body stronger. Start, squat. This is interesting. You could go back and see time codes and chapters. Notice this too. Have you seen this before? This like
I've never analyzed that.
See the white?
Yeah.
So this is when a video gets to a certain size, the public, including all of us right now watching this, can see these peaks and valleys of where audience retention is. You can always see this though in your back end and your analytics. This is fascinating because also what this shows is it shows that people really rewound or liked this part where you're actually showing them the things. Look how much it peaks here. And then is this somebody at your place that's helping you?
Yes.
I think
I have a client.
As a client. And that's, I think continuing to go deeper with clients is going to be super powerful. Like I thought early on, I don't think anyone would have a problem with, the illustration you showed. Did you say something related to like when you were young? Because you showed like a really fit young person.
Yeah. I just,
and then you cut to like older people. Was that part of the story? Because I'm not listening to the audio, so I want to make sure my advice is correct. I mean, I guess like the general B-roll is helpful, but here's what I'm getting at. This is the inside of the peak of your video.
Okay.
Evidenced by actual data. What happens if we move this more up front? And what I'm looking for is maybe more clients, more raw, more tutorials, more B-roll of what's coming up. Because the community loved, and here's bottom line. You told me you're seeking baby boomers or 60 plus, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So people are going to want to see, I don't care about young fitness models or bodybuilders, you know, or people they can't relate with. They're looking for those they can relate with. I think that's an interesting insight. What's also an interesting insight is how do you turn what happened here into a video itself?
Okay.
Like, meaning essentially in Coffee with Cannell, lean in for this part. It's like you put out a 9-minute video, but what this is telling you is that the parts that people love most are these peaks. So then what would that look like to turn that into another video that's like all of the best stuff and trimming out the weak stuff? This is how we analyze the audience retention curve and continue to improve our videos. Because at the end of the day, and I know we talked on our coaching call yesterday, click-through rate and average view duration, if we go in and study and say, okay, my storytelling clearly is not that great because at this point I lost them, or this part got too data heavy, but what they really wanted was tutorials. Okay, that gives me an insight that maybe I create a video now that's like home workout for women 60s over 60. Home workout, beginner workout at home for women over 60. And then you start, okay, this is interesting. By the way, 5.4 million views. It's going to be hard to outrank this, but this is what I'm after.
Okay.
Because, and then what am I also getting to? The other one was more like maybe information, why you should be doing this. Could you walk me through? I mean, either you lead me through something that people could follow along with? Because one angle the entire time. They do have the little headsets on. Could you do something like this?
Yeah.
With the time codes and chapters. With
I could do that.
There is wireless microphones. And could you have one of your clients in the video?
Yes, so we could do that actual live, yeah.
And so it's not even just do the 1 10-minute home workout for legs or whatever, but do 165 of them over the next couple of years. Now, this is a crazy result, but this speaks to also, it's 4 years old. This is evergreen ranked content.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this video, 5.5 million views, has earned, 5.5 million. Let's call it just a $3 RPM. It's to be $3,000 times 5.5. This video has probably earned $16,500.
Whoa.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Now, actually, they don't even have enough subscribers. So they're not even monetized, which is pretty wild. And they clearly didn't, triple down. But over 60, do these 5 exercises daily. I think, so some of these are interesting. So I would add this to you can, of course, watch the replay of this and kind of go back. Here's another good one that they did, full body workout for seniors. You're kind of like giving away a free online course. You're just giving a workout they can do. And what's crazy is this, like how many baby boomers watch YouTube stats? Watch this. That's not true. About 50% of YouTube users in the United States are baby boomer. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. So that's 31 million people. I want to say, there's maybe a different stat that's 15% of baby boomers, or a share of US, that's 50% of YouTube users, period. I think it's actually something like over 80% of baby boomers themselves are watching YouTube. I think there's a clear reason why. It's free, like if you have ads, and it's on smart TVs. So you and anybody listening to this, you're trying to reach Gen X, you're trying to reach baby boomers. The party is not over. Like, it's not like the ship has already sailed. The party is just getting started. to think about what kind of content do baby boomers want to consume, millions of people from home, to get healthy, to learn. And that could go to all kinds of things that maybe want to download your thing and be a part of your thing and do some coaching. Yes. But I'm even just saying an ad revenue business, like just pure reach, because millions of baby boomers, we're just talking about the US here, are watching YouTube, and it's on their TV and they're in their living room, and they might be starting to get pain. And so you start realizing, studying the VRA 7Rs, there is endless entry points into attracting the audience you want to reach. You might meet them at rheumatoid arthritis. They're looking to solve that. You might meet them at back pain in your 60s. You might meet them at they're already wanting to work out. We did a training that will also link up, and I can point you directly to it, Drea, for our description, on the 5 levels of awareness. I would study that after this. And the 5 levels of awareness was, here's the actual training. And it speaks to the kind of like 5 different levels of YouTube topics you could be hitting that could be attracting people into your world. But I think we've covered a lot here. So it was unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware, and the different levels. We'll link up that training.
Okay.
But the future is bright. So do you feel like you have a good action item? What I would love to see, at least initially, is more of this incredible and generous client that is willing to be in the video.
Okay.
Like maybe I want her specifically because she looks awesome. And so anybody you could get, but it's like, that's a good team. Like, and she was already willing to be in the video. Maybe eventually you cut out some kind of deal with her. You're like, listen, like I'll start giving you 2% or 5% of ad revenue or something on videos you're in. I'm for real. Cause it could, and we'll see where this goes. And you've got, the evolution of your thumbnails, but some of the tutorials, you guys are doing stuff. And you're also, not only will this blow up your business for the people that want to work with you, but YouTube gives us this opportunity to literally help people all around the nation or all around the world. It reminds me of Dr. Andrea Furlan. She gets emails all the time for people who don't have access to good medical care, who are dealing with chronic pain from just watching her videos. Truly, they don't have to spend any money at all. And it's so cool that YouTube pays us through the partner program for putting out great content. And if we go at scale and get millions of views, that's tens of thousands of dollars that can come in just from that income source. And then when we're reaching that many people, there's so many people that'll be like, how do I hire you? How do I go to another level with you?
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So I'll maximize my clientele, and they're open to help me. So they've been with me for 10, 15, 20 years. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Steve. Did you have a few more ahas today?
Yeah, just watch that where repurpose that where it spikes. What
maybe repurpose, study that.
Put it more in the front end, and
then
more
real
people.
What is this nice lady's name?
Anne. Yeah.
Anne. Get Anne on a shoot day. Anne, can we come in? I'll comp you a session or whatever, and we'll just do we'll do 3 10-minute videos or 3 15-minute workouts and just follow along. We'll do it together. Do your research ahead of time.
Yeah. So I did a follow-up. That one, Jerry, the next one at 80, the gentleman. So he's also in his 80s. So I'm trying to get him on the call, on the videos as well.
It's beautiful. So we're looking for a tutorial, like a home workout in your 60s or 60s plus, really. I mean, it's still however you want to, and you can work with your coach and accelerator to really dial in those specific titles and really figure out those gaps. But I think the cool thing about those is the utility. People find that video, they'll watch it over and over.
Correct.
I've watched this yoga for snowboarders video like 20 times. It's like if I'm ever about to go snowboarding, I'm like, I got my video, and I just turn it on and I like do the routine to like stretch out and get ready. It's an interesting opportunity you have in your niche And I think there's something about doubling down with the fact that you've got your practice, you've got the space, you've got the clients, you've got that. Like, I go super deep in those.
Okay, that's awesome.
Steve, appreciate you.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
All right. We've got a couple more things coming up. And someone asked earlier, did my question get skipped? It probably did not. We have more questions. But if you have any final questions, put a couple question marks before and after. I think we got about another 30 minutes. Hit like if you got any value today. And if you have any aha moments. Now, I know that for the 535 people across platforms on here, thank you so much for being here. If we're just meeting, my name is Sean Cannell. My passion is helping you build a profitable YouTube channel. And I'm humbled you'd be here. If you have any takeaways, though, and you're not driving or you are able to type, I'd love to hear from you in the chat across LinkedIn, Facebook, X, here on YouTube. What is kind of maybe a next step or an aha moment from today? Because we don't just want to consume more information. We want to take massive action. That's where the results are. So if you share any aha moments or action items from today's training, I'll highlight those in just a second. And let's see some other questions that have been coming in. What would you recommend for someone posting for 2 years that is still growing slow? There's a video that is on Think Media podcast, a podcast episode that I recorded. And I would recommend this to watch this next. If you go to the channel and you search quit, it's here eventually. How to know when to quit YouTube. I'm going to post that and it should show up in the chat. And it's based largely on a book from Seth Godin called The Dip. You certainly could also skip straight to that book if you want to go on Amazon and purchase that. We'll link that up in the show notes as well. It's a very short little book. And it's a little book that teaches you when to quit and when to stick. The truth is quitting can be good. Quitting things that are not working. And quitting oftentimes means pivoting, changing your approach, changing your strategy. If you've been doing it for 2 years and it's still growing slow, you might need to pivot. Now, where the misunderstanding of quitting would be, you don't want to quit a marathon, though, on mile 19, if you've got a few miles left before you finish the the marathon. Of course, your knees hurt and your legs hurt and you feel tired and you feel fatigued. So certain things are going to be hard, and too many people quit in the dip. They quit when it's hard, and they're this guy in the middle of the dip. But on the flip side, it's really a whole system and a level of questions. So again, you can watch our podcast episode on that for free. You could pick up the book for $8. And that's what I would recommend, assessing what you've been doing on YouTube, Maya, through that framework. And we'll link that up in the show notes. Cuddle Time Corner. My biggest challenge is creating eye-catching thumbnails since my niche is creating lullaby songs. Any advice? I mean, I think a couple things you could do is, I think that if you look at what's happening, well, one, you can watch today's podcast with Matt Wolf, AI expert. Subscribe to his channel. Things like Midjourney, I think Flux. There's a lot of AI generator tools. What you might do is you might have like decent photos of yourself that you then use Canva to put yourself reading the book or like lullaby or something, perhaps. And then you combine that with maybe an image that you like. Let's say the book you're reading was by about a happy dragon. So like a lullaby, happy dragon, and then you go aspect ratio, widescreen, and then you go pastel, sculpture, caricature, candy, made of candy. All right, so we'll come back. This is Dall-E, Dalle, Dalle. It's part of ChatGPT, and it's just their image generator. So perhaps either one, you don't need to be in the thumbnail at all. Maybe you're doing a voiceover. There's a lullaby thing happening. But number two, here's your thumbnail, and it says like lullaby, like the text you add on here or something, combining a AI image generator with just a design tool to add some text and to do some other things. So to me, we're living in an era when it comes to, if you will, eye-catching thumbnails or just the evolution of design tools. It's crazy out here. So it's getting, I think, educated on some of those things. The utilization of good AI tools is closer at hand than ever before. And today's Think podcast, Escape the 9 to 5 and Go Full Time on YouTube with Matt Wolf. If you skip in that video to even strategic AI tools, that's a 30-minute conversation or something. That's almost like a part 2 of this deep dive that we did. So I highly recommend today's Think Media podcast episode for more on AI tools that you could be using right now. And we talk specifically about thumbnails at a big length today. Now, here's a question for you. And actually, Dre, are you able to do a poll? I am curious. Maybe I'm able to do a poll. But if we're ready for that, let me see. You have to do it in the back end of the YouTube studio. So here's the question. Do you want to create an online course? Yes or no? I'm curious. And so let me know if you're watching this and you've ever thought about creating an online course. I actually surveyed the Think Media podcast community for as many people as voted. And we found that 7 out of 10 people in our community have been thinking about wanting to create and launch an online course this year. 34% of our community said, I want to create an online course, but I have no idea where to start. 13% said I've started creating it, but I'm not finished. And 22% said I want to, but I feel busy and overwhelmed right now. So maybe you can relate to those 7 out of 10. Now, 3 out of 10, we're not interested in creating an online course. But one of the reasons I bring that up is because a friend of mine is hosting a boot camp. And so I know this is not for everybody, but if you're like, Sean, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I particularly love digital products. I think we're living in a really cool era where if you have developed a skill, you've developed something that you can help people with, that, you can sell physical products, but there's shipping and there's returns and there's packaging, right? There's lost things in the mail. There's digital products are so cool because of the profit margins, because of the way to impact people. And really because they're quite a lucrative opportunity. Now, of course, there's competition. And of course, there's all kinds of different questions you may have. What courses would people actually want? And how do I actually put, into it? And how have things changed now with more communities and cohorts and maybe not just passive information, because information is so abundant. So it's not without challenge and things to learn. But if you have ever aspired or wanted to, create a digital course, again, my friend Amy Porterfield, and we have an episode coming out with her this Thursday, but she's hosting a boot camp. Now, if you've never heard of Amy, she is probably the #1 expert in the world. That's a big statement, but she probably is the #1 expert in the world on building online courses. And at digitalcoursebootcamp.com, you could check out her boot camp. Now, I think it's like a $47 investment. So it's not a free event, but it is deeply powerful if you're like, I'm serious. I want to get serious about finishing my course, starting my course the right way. And if you particularly feel overwhelmed or busy, that's what the bootcamp is about. I think it's called Course Confident. And it is about, for those that feel overwhelmed and busy and are trying to get their online course built. And so here's the page for it. Too busy or overwhelmed to even start your digital course? Introducing Course Confident. And so pretty cool resource. Again, not for everybody. There's 4 trainings or something coming up. You can see all the dates all included in this. And so, yeah, just wanted to put that on your radar and excited for that episode with Amy coming soon. Now, let me also see if I can now see the poll results of this episode, at least here on YouTube. And so if I'm in the chat over on the right side, do you want to create an online course? Yes. 57% of those here live on YouTube would like to. So yeah, if you're interested in doing that, if you're part of that 57%, definitely something to check out. You could go to digitalcoursebootcamp.com, or there's a link in the show notes as well. And you can see that this is a an actual live boot camp that Amy Porterfield is hosting. She is the author of 2 Weeks Notice. Probably what she's worked with Tony Robbins for like a decade, I believe, and has now been building up her stuff for like a decade. We were able to hang out recently in Nashville and shoot some content. One of the most just world-class humans, really generous, an incredible person, and runs her whole online business with peak ethics and integrity. Really cool person. Again, if you're interested in thinking about packaging what you know and launching an online course and you want some help with that, you could check that out. Okay. If you've got any questions, let me know. And actually, let's see any of these aha moments from today. If anyone had some aha moments, how far back do I need to go? I've been talking for a long time. Takeaways. What are your takeaways? Thank you, Drea, for posting that. Your Christian Encourager said, my next step is getting vidIQ. Smart move. Again, very helpful tool. Definitely check that out. Some good questions coming in. I'll hit those in a second. Let's see if there's any. I don't want to quit. I love it. And again, I think the key, Maya, going back to when to quit, it's really strategic quitting. It's like, I want to quit posting videos that don't get views. And it doesn't mean I'm quitting my channel. I want to continue. I want to find videos that do get views. I want to quit the things that I'm doing, the habits that are not helping me, but I want to double down on the habits that are. So strategic quitting, such a great phrase, that the most successful people are quitters. Oh, real winners never quit. Quitters never win and winners never quit. What are you talking about? Of course, winners quit. They quit all the time. They quit the things that aren't working. They quit the things that don't work for them. They learn about their own strengths, they quit their weaknesses. They double down on their strengths. Strategic quitting, though. They don't quit when it's hard. They don't quit the marathon at mile 22 because they committed to run the marathon, but they might pivot their stride. They might quit the stride that was hurting the knee pain and then change their stride so that they can finish because of the way their body's reacting. Strategic quitting. Strategic quitting. Okay. Sabes, I have more than one passion and everyone says niche down. They're unrelated. Food, makeup, and clothes. I'm so conflicted. I'm just starting. Should I start different channels for each? I mean, I'd check out the replay at the beginning. There's an argument that some people would say that you are the niche. So your makeup as you're cooking, your makeup and fashion, like, whoa, like the food fashionista. Did we just design your brand? That's pretty good. That's pretty fire. Like is a way then to figure out, I'm passionate about makeup, I'm passionate about fashion, and I'm passionate about food, and I'm going to launch a show called The Food Fashionista, but still it's a cooking show. It's still food. It's still, and it wraps it all together. Here's what we're after. I think this will help. Everyone says niche down, and niche might be too narrow, but I want to encourage you to have a channel theme or a channel topic. Like at the end of the day, we can see things that are in clusters. People are seeking fitness, they're seeking food, they're seeking makeup, and you can, when you may be onto something that's genius by like blending stuff together, or you may also stay stuck. So it's worth taking a risk, but there is something powerful about really thinking about what's the cohesive theme here. What's the purpose of your YouTube channel? What's the target audience, and how does that all work together? But I talked for about 28 minutes at the beginning here on that kind of stuff. So definitely check that replay if you're just jumping on. Rex, I've been using AI for tons of pictures for my DeviantArt page for the past 9 months. So I launched a YouTube channel teaching how to make pictures using prompts for Microsoft Copilot. Awesome. Sounds awesome. John, how important are my comments? My broker dealer requires I turn off comments for the videos. What does that do to reach potential? That's fine, because also your broker dealer requires it. So that is what we have to work with. Now, click-through rate and view duration are infinitely more important than other metrics. But YouTube themselves has said that engagement signals like comments and likes and people filling out surveys and Their viewer satisfaction and these different metrics they use are all helpful, but your potential is not capped. Great content, perfect video recipe, something that we teach, great videos, great packaging, all of the above. You can crush with your comments turned off. Many channels have, many channels do, and they might have various reasons for that happening. Sean, I've been doing fishing content for 2 years. I started implementing e-bike videos. Do they, and they do well. I also do my weekly fishing videos. Will this hurt the channel? Well, I don't know. Like, your channel is called Tough Bass, and it's been fishing videos. And so, I mean, if people like the e-bike videos, but here's the problem. What happens if an e-bike video goes viral and gets millions of views, and you get 20,000 new subscribers because they go, oh man, this is dope. I want more e-bike videos. And then you upload your next 4 videos and they're all on fishing content. Well, your new 20,000 subscribers aren't going to click on them because they're like, what does this bass content have to do with the e-bike content I subscribed for in the first place? Here's the principle. Never upload videos your subscribers didn't subscribe for. Now, you can break that principle. I do. Like on Think Media, we upload DaVinci Resolve video editing tutorials. And if someone clicks subscribe on it and I upload a camera review, they probably subscribe for more video editing tutorials, not necessarily the camera review. So that you might break the rule. You might say, well, the theme of the channel is, listen, not every video, if you're not using Final Cut, you're never going to click on a Final Cut tutorial. If you're not using DaVinci Resolve, but you might click on my best camera. Like, so you might have certain videos, but the theme of Think Media is the best tips and tools for building your influence with video. Okay. Still though, 3 million subscribers on that channel. I've confused the algorithm a little bit. I have. So I think you need to know how YouTube works, know the best practices, know some of these things, and then make educated and informed decisions about the strategy that you want to do moving forward. The e-bike videos doing well is cool, but it could be a negative. It could be not as positive as you think it is. Here's one of, I think, the most powerful things we could do as entrepreneurs and content creators is we need to learn about, we need to think moves ahead and downstream. We need to think about the downstream consequences and the second order consequences of the decisions we make. Let's ask AI to help us with what does that mean? What do second order consequences and downstream consequences mean? Can you explain that simply to a 5th grader? All right. Here's what that means. Imagine you throw a rock into a pond. The first thing that happens, the splash, that's the first order consequence. That's the most obvious. That's the immediate result. But then you see ripples out of the splash. Those ripples are the second order consequences. They happen a little later and they are caused by the initial splash. So first order consequences happen right away. You post e-bike videos, you get views. It must be working. But the second order consequences happen a bit later because of the first thing. So I want to encourage you to be careful. Again, just that's why viral can be overrated. Whoa, something good is happening. Is it? Maybe. We got to start thinking about second order consequences. Where's this thing going? What's the brand of your channel? What's the niche of your channel? Who do you want to reach? Are you reaching the right people? What's going to be happening 1 year down the road, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road? Deep. Okay. Let me check in with, let's actually have Caleb hit a question here, and then I'll land the plane with a few more questions in just a second. Caleb, the question is, has there been comments about different languages spoken in one video? Would that complicate YouTube's algorithm? Should I speak more than one language on my channel? And you actually have experience in this in general, so break this down.
Well, and what's interesting about this one, it's like in one video. You know what's in there is like one situation where that maybe works, and that is actually Spanish. Like the only place where I see that maybe working, I would advise against it 100%. But in the United States of America, there are millions and millions of Hispanics that speak English and Spanish. So you could maybe get away with it, but I would not set up my channel that way. I'd pick one language and go all in. It's a constant struggle for me and my wife. We are both born and raised in the United States, but both of our channels are in Spanish. And so like we're constantly, fighting against the urge to want to make content in English, even throw content up in English on my channel, which I used to do. I mean, the people, my subscribers would just immediately protest and be like, I have no idea what's going on. They would actually get mad at me and frustrated. So I would not do that. Every now and then I will search for a specific video, and then I will get these videos that are titled, like the titles are in English, but then I click on it and it's in like Hindi or something like that. I don't know if that's the language that is spoken in India. I think it is. Whatever the language in India or different parts of Asia, and that just throws me off completely, and I'm out of there. So no, I mean, we would recommend one channel, one language, period. Don't overcomplicate this.
Great advice, and especially with your experience too, as you speak multiple languages on your content. I'm going to answer another question here, but if you can give it up for Caleb adding value today. Caleb, thank you so much for being a part of the Coffee with Cannell show and crushing it as one of our Think Media certified coaches, helping so many different entrepreneurs and creators with their channels. Appreciate you. And Coffee with Cannell, you might just be jumping on, and thank you for being here from all over the internet, LinkedIn and X and Facebook, as well as YouTube. We do this show probably every other week to help you with tips and advice for starting channels, launching channels, growing. A couple resources for you. I am hosting a class this Thursday at expandgodskingdom.com. That's a Christian content creator class speaking about some actually Bible verses that every Christian content creator needs to know, as well as strategies for starting, launching, narrowing your niche, your channel topic, and then how do you really grow right now, especially in today's environment, and monetize in different ways. It's going to be fun. So that's at expandgodskingdom.com. Link in the description down below if you want to be a part of that. And then also, if you voted and said, I do want to start an online course at some point, it was something like 63%. The poll is complete of people watching the stream were interested in doing that. Then I highly recommend checking out digitalcoursebootcamp.com. My friend Amy Porterfield is doing a multi-day boot camp that walks you through the first 4 decisions to move out of overwhelm, get into action, and stop delaying the money you could be making from your digital course. And so, not for everybody, but if that sounds interesting to you, you could check that out in the show notes. Thank you for asking all these questions today. And another question came in here that said, hey, Sean, hope you're doing great. I'm thinking about more than one channel, but I believe the first channel gets more like 2,000 to 3,000 subs, and then I create a second one, or should I do both? If you're, I mean, I think I'd watch the replay at the beginning, in regards to making just wise decisions. Bottom line is, I think focus and double down. I got some numbers for you. I heard it said once, and I kind of agree with this. Don't start a second channel until you hit 100,000 subscribers. Now you might go, well, that sounds crazy. Like, I may never hit 100,000. I get it. But I think the principle is really strong. It's like, don't start a second channel until you have like way more momentum than you think you need. I was in a business mastermind once, and I heard this was the advice. I really agree with this. It said, don't even launch another product until your product has already done $1 million. And don't even create a product if it can't do $1 million. We're talking deep right now, and that might stretch your thinking a little bit. And you might also go, that's crazy. Like that $1 million, that's not in reach of most people. Listen, if you're going to launch a business and you're not thinking in terms of $1 million, you're thinking way too small. Because I think the fallacy 99% of people think about or fail to think about is they're like, oh, you launched $1 million product? You're a millionaire now. It's like, no, you aren't. Most people, not even close usually. when you start thinking business minded, the cost of doing business is a lot of times higher than you think. Of course, if you open some kind of an entity, you might pay yourself a salary, but a lot of your money goes to operations. You pay a freelancer, you pay a contractor, you pay for some software, you pay for some digital marketing, you pay for some ads, you're working on some content, you buy some equipment, you build a home office, and here's the other thing to consider is if you're going to create a product, let's say you launch an online course or digital product, this would be one of my frameworks. I took it away from that mastermind. Is that I don't even want to start this idea if it can't do at least $1 million. If I've done my prior market research, that doesn't mean it's going to do $1 million in a year, but don't you want to create something you could sell for the next 5 to 5 years? So if one signature blockbuster product did $200,000 a year for 5 years, and the operations of your business cost $100,000, your take-home pay would be $100,000. That's before taxes. So one blockbuster product idea, you sell it for 5 years, half your money goes to running things, and the other half goes to a 6-figure income. That's $1 million product. So by the way, I mean, let's launch a product that, just all this hype and all these gurus online. I did $1 million in a month. And I mean, sure, this stuff happens, but like, that's kind of ridiculous for most people. And that is really rare. But it's like, you just think about small business ownership. Like if you're not thinking in terms of millions of dollars, you are literally thinking too small because there's so many costs, plus taxes, plus operations, plus all of that stuff. Okay. So let's take it all the way back. Like, I have 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers. Should I start another channel? Here's what I'm challenging you is like, focus a lot deeper than you think you need to, and focus longer than you think you need to. And let's hit this quote. This is the missing piece of, I think, most small business owners, period. Resist the allure of shiny new objects. True solopreneur success comes from, mastering one channel, one offering, one business model at a time. If I was to start over, this is what I would do. I would think about, what is my one YouTube channel? What is the one smartest business model connected to that channel? What is my one offer or core offer? And I know for some of us, it's like, well, I want to do ad revenue and sponsorships and stuff. But even that, then that's still clarity of what your business model is. So you're like, okay, what is the math, and how much would sponsors need to pay me, and how many views would I need to be getting, and what kind of results would I need to be getting to make the monthly reoccurring revenue sustainable, and for this to be a real business and not just a random viral prayer, but a practical, intentional business. Smart solopreneurs that scale, I think it's about really identifying the one channel and the one offering connected to that channel. And I made this mistake. There was a few years into Think Media. By the way, we had our one offer, and we've eventually changed. We have like one thing that we do at Think Media. You might be like, you do tons of things. All right, relax. Like we eventually were like, Video Ranking Academy is our program. There's a do-it-yourself level, there's a group coaching level, and there's a one-on-one coaching level. But it's all the same 7R system. And it's the one way you could go deeper with us. We just had our event, Grow with Video Live. But what did we talk about at the event? The 7R system. So we have one system, basically one product. And then we might do like a holiday special, the YouTube starter kit, some other stuff. But we have one core offer that shows up in 3 different ways. And it took me like 8 years to figure this out. So you could just get this for free right now. A couple years ago, we had like all these SKUs. And by SKUs, I mean like barcodes. And I don't even think we have a barcode, but that's like a product number. We had a course called Crush Collabs, a little mini course. We had the YouTube Hypergrowth Blueprint. Still love that one. Missed that one. We have, I was like, why did I even need to make another course? Like we had, we have Video Ranking Academy. We had on and on. And we had the biggest one. And we had a whole membership program called Inner Circle, which here's even what's crazy is people loved it. Here's what's crazier. It was earning $25,000 a month. When you're a small town kid, college dropout like me, and you grew up on 6 acres with goats and horses and cats and dogs, you thought about making 6 figures a year, you were like, bro, that would be insane. Like then I can't even imagine what I would do with all that money. So imagine you have a product in your business doing $25,000 a month. It's $300,000 a year. And I had to make the hard decision for the scale of business we were at to shut that product down, to sunset the product. I don't know. We just got super deep here on Coffee with Cannell. There's a book called The Pumpkin Plan. How do you grow a prize-winning pumpkin? You know how you do it? You cut off all the little pumpkins. By the way, $25,000 a month might not sound like a little pumpkin, but compared, and you know what happened after we did that? Our business like exploded the next year. Our revenue did. So it was the hard decision to say, I had someone come up to me at a Vegas influencers event, vegasinfluencers.com. I don't know if we're probably not going to do a meetup for a while. I may end up in the Pacific Northwest, but we have it. We have a list of people, vegasinfluencers.com. You can sign up for the next meetup. We'll send an email out. And this woman came up to me and she goes, I go, what do you do? It's so nice to meet you. And she started to brag, not in a bad way. She started to talk about what she was doing, but I was sending off red flags left and right for me. She's like, well, I'm a content creator. I'm an author. I'm a freelancer. I'm an artist. And I was like, okay, I'm stressed, but go on. And I was like, so what's going on? She's like, well, I'm working on 3 books right now. And, none of them are done. And I also know that I want to launch a course. And I'm here at the meetup because I want to talk about YouTube and stuff, but I have been struggling to be consistent on my YouTube channel. I was like, well, obviously you're doing 48 things. And, I've got some different clients that I'm working with and stuff. And I'm kind of stressed. I got a lot going on, but it was also kind of like she wore busyness as a badge of honor. That's not a badge of honor. Focus is what we should be celebrating. Follow one course until successful. This is a big deal. So resist the allure of shining new objects. True solopreneur success comes from mastering one channel, one offering, and one business model at a time. I think the real question would be, should you do an online course? Sure. It's a really good idea. But should you write a book and launch it? Yeah, that's a great idea too. Should you also do a video podcast? For sure. It's also great. How about a YouTube channel? Yeah. Should you do all of those things all at once when you're starting and you have a 9-to-5 job and 36 kids? Why do you have 36 kids? No, you shouldn't do all the things all at once. So I think the real next step at the end of today's show, tying all the way back into the beginning, is really getting fierce clarity on your next right steps, what you should be saying yes to, but more importantly, what should you be saying no to? And I want to encourage you to resist the allure of shiny objects, because true success comes from mastering one channel, one offering, and one business model at a time. I wish I learned that sooner. And when I started to shut things down and try to get focused, and now I'm still trying to do less. And if you're looking for a book to read, it's in the description already. We talked about it earlier. If you just want to read the subtitle, look at the subtitle of the book. The book's called Essentialism, and it's the disciplined pursuit of less. I'm multi-passionate, Sean. I want to start multiple channels. Well, in theory, yes, your diverse passions should live on other channels. But I want to challenge you to be disciplined and to pursue less. To be disciplined not to run multiple channels, but to really take one seriously and go so deep in that one channel that momentum happens. And here's why. Because I believe your dreams will be unlocked on the other side. Because once you have more money for the mission, that's a breath of fresh air. What does financial peace feel like? What does a little bit of margin feel like? What does a little bit of buying your time back? Because now you can hire an editor and an admin assistant. And then what does it feel like when you can pursue the next piece of your creative vision with more peace, more stability, and in the right season, not trying to do everything all at once? My friends, this has been the Coffee with Cannell show. I don't know where all of, shout out to X for showing up strong today. Shout out to Elon for showing up strong algorithmically on X. I don't think we've ever had legit. We have 615 people watching on X right now. What is up? That's amazing. Usually it's like 6. So the algorithm is good today. And good to see you, Christianity Explained over there. And he says, talk about timing. My ministry channel is growing slow. Lately, I feel the need to start a second channel. Well, I think everything we just talked about, my friend, is the important thing. And what is that? It is resist the need for another shiny object and another thing. Success comes from mastering one channel, one offering, one business model. If you want to start a Minecraft channel so you can go live and have fun, well, then you've predefined the purpose. It's a hobby. It's an outlet. It's for fun. That's the purpose of it. Well, cool. That's different than trying to like have a whole nother successful business, if you will. There's some people that are graced to like successfully run multiple businesses. I don't think I'm that person. Like my friend Ryan Pineda, I'm like, bro, how do you like launch a new business every day? And then like 5 more businesses and then grow them all. I've actually been trying to like shut businesses down, like shut product line. I'm on the disciplined pursuit of less, but to each his own. So I think it's, thinking about your pace, your bandwidth, you think about the Elons since X is maybe some fans here since X is showing up so strong. SpaceX, right? Tesla, the Boring Company, Twitter, X. And you also think about his reputation, though, and how much he wants to work. That's a self-awareness thing. I think about Patrick Bet-David, who I've had the privilege of doing some coaching with. He just had the Vault conference. And he asked me, he said, Sean, would you rather work 80 hours a week and get crazy and scale a bunch of... I asked him, this is interesting. He revealed when he was running PHP full-time and Valuetainment full-time and beyond, he's a maniac, as far as all in, it's his personality. I said, how is it that you're like balancing and juggling being the CEO of 2 full-on companies, 2 like multi-million dollar companies in like 40 hours a week? He was like, I don't work 40 hours a week. I work full-time at both. It was a math thing. I was like, oh, so 80 plus hours. We'll push 80, 90, 100. Is that what you want to do? And this came up in the context of him asking me in light of my values and in light of the season of life I'm in. He said, Sean, would you want to work 80 hours and scale up and hit these targets and these financial targets in the next 12 months? Or would you rather go a little bit slower, get there in the next 5 years, but work like 20 hours a week? Well, that question really helped me. I was like, I want to work 40. I love working. I love doing what I do. I kind of want to work roughly 9 to 5. I don't want to cut into my family time or my kids' time in the mornings or in the evenings. I want to be able to take days off when I want. Our whole team gets 6 weeks off a year, paid vacation total. So we want to create a culture that has a really cool, where we work really hard and we also rest. But that self-awareness piece was huge. So for some people, they maybe have a particular set of skills to run multiple things. They may want to work endless hours, or you want to push, even if you did this full time, maybe you want to work 50, 60, 70, 80, 100. And so you're like, I'm going to work 40 on one channel and 40 on another. For me, I like naps. I heard Drake say, I don't take naps. Me and the money are way too attached to go and do that. Muscle relax. Okay. And I was like, I take naps. Drake might not take naps. He did now after he was defeated by Kendrick, but Drake might not take naps. I do. So what am I getting at? We're going to land the plane in this rant at the end of the day of the stream, but I'm getting at self-awareness. I'm getting at you really deciding what it is you want to do and you getting clarity on the season of life you're in. And if you are just jumping on this replay, at the beginning, I did 25 minutes of a training with the 4 seasons we go through as content creators and questions to ask to really define maybe the next best steps for you. Because I feel like a lot of creators are burning out and getting stuck because they are doing too much. They're going in too many directions all at once. And I think that'll really serve you. So my friends, I want to thank you so much for hanging out today. Smash like if you got value. Check out show notes and links in the description down below for resources. And I cannot wait to connect with you in a future episode of the Coffee with Cannell show. Until then, my name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and we will talk soon. Peace out.